Merry Christmas, everyone. Hope you all got big plans for the next couple of days. I'm sure you do. Just a question for everybody, whether you're watching online or you're here tonight. If you ask the average person out there, what's the meaning of Christmas? What's Christmas all about? How many feasting and fellowship with friends and family would give that answer? Yeah, that's a good part of Christmas for sure. Maybe a time of year to appreciate mankind a little bit more. I know that's not always easy. A time to remember to be a little bit more kind and a little bit more patient and a little bit more thoughtful. If that's you, my hat's off to you. Can you please help me? I was out driving in London this week. That's fun. Even went to the mall. It's been years, I think. I think everyone in London was there at the exact same time, just had to park about 5 miles away. Several stores, tried to find a salesperson to help. Yeah, sure. Even the grocery store was insane. So I gave up. I went to my favorite store instead. Maybe you know it. It's called Amazon.ca. Love that store. Endless selection, easy to find stuff. Don't have to fight your way through the traffic. Don't have to circle the parking lot 5 times to find a parking spot. You don't have to walk down the aisle. You don't have to put things in your cart. You get them in your car. You get them home. Don't have to do any of that stuff. Don't even have to wrap the stuff you buy these days, right? Amazon will do that for you too. Easy to find too many things and spend too much money though, that way, isn't it? Just a click of a button. But it's not about the money, right? It's Christmas time. I'm not trying to be a Scrooge or anything, but it is Christmas. I want to be generous, and it's pretty easy to just click a couple more times and add to a shopping cart with an infinite amount of room, and presents go directly from my computer screen to under the appropriate tree. Anyway, how does more people out driving, usually very slowly towards where I want to drive? How do longer lines, usually with people wanting price match on everything in their cart? How does credit card balances rising for gifts for people that don't really need any, and for extra food that I certainly don't need? Not to mention more cleaning the house in these few weeks and the rest of the year because company's coming. Sometimes I wonder, how does this time of year give anyone Christmas cheer? Given the state of the world at this time, it's not pretty hard to see the turmoil and the worry. It's hard to set that aside sometimes, even for a few days. Doesn't seem like the news is constantly just trying to steal any joy you want to be mustering up these days, let alone just regular life problems. Just seems like one dire prediction after another sometimes. Everybody's talking about next year already, 2026. What's going to happen? There are people here tonight who are facing unwanted and unprecedented decisions now or soon. It's hard to put those things out of your mind, even for the sake of Christmas. Christmas is touted as the most wonderful time of year. But it's not all sunshine and roses, is it? There are some parts of it that can be tough. And for some people, as we sing and we celebrate Christmas tonight, as we should, there's not much to celebrate in some people's lives. Life has handed them a very tough pill to swallow this year. Whether that's no presents under the tree because there's no more job to buy presents, or it's no one to give presents to this year because family's no longer around or no longer won't see them. There's many families like that. Life is a way of dividing us sometimes, is it not? For some of us, the strife and the stress of life have torn friends and families apart. Unfortunately, there are grandparents that will not see their children and grandchildren this Christmas. Lots of families will spend this holiday time distant from each other and disappointed in each other. As we're here tonight celebrating Christmas, I just want us to think about what's going on here for a minute. Why are we together tonight? Why are we singing? Why are we celebrating? In a world that seems as dark and as angry as ever, as we face a future that seems pretty uncertain sometimes, is Christmas really that important to celebrate? People wonder that. If Christmas time is really about just a few days off work or school, some great meals and some visits with friends and family, and exchanging some presents, all in the name of the holiday spirit, I'm skeptical then about the value of that in this world. As good as those things are, reality is they're just all temporary. Just think, 2 weeks from today, where will you be? What will you be thinking about? Reality is, not many days from today, everyone will be back to life as usual, back to work, or back to fighting for work, or whatever. Back to school, back to whatever consumes your time as normal. The new year, 2026, will be freshly underway, and there'll be no looking back. This night tonight, Christmas Eve, and whatever you've got up to tomorrow, Christmas Day itself, there'll be memories at best. Just in a few days from now. Most of the events of this Christmas season, certainly by the time February rolls around, will have largely faded from your mind, and you'll never think about them again in your life. You might be thinking right now, wow, so glad I came tonight, Dan. This is such a joyful, uplifting Christmas message. Thank you. You're welcome, by the way. Yes. Look, I don't know where you're at in life or what you may or may not believe about what the message of Christmas is, or what you're facing as Christmas comes our way again in 2025. But you're here tonight with family that is Pinery Church celebrating Christmas. And if your heart is heavy, if you find yourself wondering if there is any meaning behind what's happening in this world, if you're wondering if there's any meaning behind what's happening in your own life and in your own heart, I want you to hear God's answer to that question. I don't know what you think Christianity is all about. I know most of you are believers. I don't know what this world thinks Christianity is about. I don't know what this world thinks Christians believe sometimes, but I want you to know, I want everyone to know tonight what Christmas means here at this church to us, what it can mean for anyone who wants it. I want to tell you about what might be the most famous verse in the Bible. I mention it often, actually. You've probably seen it on the placards, actually, in the end zones of football games. John 3:16 says this, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish but have eternal life." God has given us a gift. That's what Christmas is about. And this gift is his Son. So how do you determine the value of a gift? Well, two things, I think, play into the value of a gift. First is the intrinsic value of the item given. It's not what really is being emphasized here in John 3:16, this gift. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that, but just a quick question. How valuable do you think the Son of God is? How valuable to you is your child or children? Most days, priceless. I can think of a few times I wanted to give them away, but mostly priceless. Mostly more valuable to me than anything else in this world. And I'm sure we can all imagine if that's how we feel about the pricelessness of our sons and daughters, the Son of God would have an even greater value to his Father. But the other thing that affects the value of something given is the effect of possessing the item received. Does this gift actually do anything for you? Unlike the myriad of toys that little kids are going to unwrap and break within a few weeks. Got a friend, John, some of you guys might have met him. He used to be a pilot and he's retired now. And when he retired, they gave him a parting gift. A little card that lets him fly anywhere in the world at any time for free. That's a pretty valuable gift. I mean, if I got that, that would change my life, our life. It would change all of our lives. You could just fly around on a plane whenever you wanted. But here's the thing. The value is not in the card itself, right? It's just a piece of plastic. It's what the card does for him that's valuable. I don't know, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and Frosty the Snowman cartoons. And they don't cost much at all to watch, but 30 minutes of silent, still children you get when you put the TV on. Yeah, that's pretty valuable. How valuable is that? Some days that's priceless. What's being emphasized in John 3:16, the value of the gift receiving, the value of the effect of receiving that gift. That's what's being emphasized. It's not just what the gift is, but what that gift does that's priceless. I want to point out something else. I want to show you what the next part of that message is before we keep going. What does come after John 3:16? John 3:17, Dan? Yes. What does Jesus go on to tell us about? He tells us what God does not give. John 3:16 says, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish but have eternal life. For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but in order that the world might be saved through him." Notice what the message is not. It's not condemnation. Does God know that humanity has problems? Does God know that people hurt and even kill each other? Does God know that people oppress and rob and steal things from their fellow man? Does God know that people can be selfish and they can lie and they can slander, and they do? Does God know that people curse him and mock him and even declare outrageously that he doesn't exist? Of course he does. God knows all that. God sees all that. God knows the problems that lie in the human condition. You know what else he knows? You know what else? You know who else knows it? You do. We all do. You may not have robbed any banks or intentionally smeared anyone's reputation with lies or murdered anyone. But do you know what it's like to treat someone unfairly? To be less than truthful a time or two? To take advantage of someone or to be angry for little reason? You know what it's like to hurt someone with your words? You know what it's like to break a promise or to fail to be there for a friend in need? We all do. We all know that there are things in our lives and things about us that should be better. There are things that we should be doing that we choose not to. And there are things we know we shouldn't do, but we do them anyways. We all know that there's something wrong inside us. We all know we fall short of righteousness. We are sinful, fallen, and broken beings. And here's the thing. Let me remind you, because you might not be feeling it right now. Everything might be rolling along just fine for you this Christmas. And what I'm saying could mean not very much today to you. But we all know that deep down inside us there is something wrong. And reality is one day something will happen and circumstances will change, and that wrongness inside will come bubbling up to the surface for you and the people around you to see. It always happens. And when that day comes, things will not be going well for you. And you won't be feeling a lot of love and Christmas spirit at the time. And it's at that time that maybe you can remember the real message of Christmas. The real message of tonight and tomorrow, that God did not send his Son into this world to condemn you for that brokenness and sin that resides in you. But God so loved the world that he sent his Son to save us from the fallen and failed contents of our hearts. Here's the thing. When God decided to give us the gift of his Son, what did he give us? First, he gave us something we could never get for ourselves. Condemnation's easy to find, right? Plenty of people willing to give that to you. Every time you slip up, is condemnation not readily available? Sometimes from several sources. Don't you even give it to yourself? We fail to meet our own standards. When you even disappoint yourself, isn't self-condemnation right there to grab your heart? Well, here's the thing about God. He doesn't give gifts like we give gifts. He doesn't give things that you can get somewhere else. Certainly not something as common as condemnation. Good news of Christmas, God is so different than us. We can only give temporary gifts. All the things that were under your tree that will be unwrapped and appreciated and tomorrow morning and be quickly forgotten. God doesn't give stuff like that. He doesn't give trinkets that fade away with time. God only gives us gifts that have eternal value. God's gifts last forever. My wife has a pretty adorable habit when it comes to receiving gifts. She likes to buy the things she needs, the things on her Christmas list, about 2 weeks before Christmas for herself. That's super helpful. I remember last year I had an idea for a gift for her that was going to show her how much I'd been paying attention, had it all lined up. And what happened? She saw it on sale about 2 weeks before Christmas, and guess what showed up on our front doorstep the next day? Yeah, back to the drawing board for me, and quickly. Here's the other thing about gifts from God. God gives us what we desperately need but have no ability to get for ourselves. Like I said, that's what he gives. God's gifts are priceless and only available from him, and they last forever. And God gave us his Son so that we might not perish, but instead live forever. How valuable and unattainable is eternal life. How valuable is the gift that solves a problem that is imminent and inevitable, and you are powerless to stop. Because that's our dire predicament. We are physically broken creatures, our bodies and minds doomed to break down and deteriorate as the years go by. We are spiritually broken creatures. We don't quite work right on the inside. And one day our brokenness will catch up to us, and we will face our final enemy, and we'll go in the grave. And then we'll stand before our Creator, and we'll give an account of ourselves. And I don't know about you, but my record's not great. Actually, it's terrible. My sins and my failures are uncountable. And I know it. And God knows it too. And there's no way that I'm going to be judged worthy of anything but judgment. But God looks on this world, and he looks on our lives and sees our brokenness. And not only does he refuse to condemn us for that brokenness and sin, God chooses to love us despite our brokenness and sin. And God looks on this world and looks on our lives and sees our brokenness and gives us a gift. He sends his Son to save us from all of it, to rescue us from our perishing and give us what we could never get for ourselves, eternal life. John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish, but have eternal life. That's the message of the Bible. That's the message of Christmas. This has always been the promise of God, that God knows us. He knows everything about us. All the things that are kept in the dark corners of your heart and your mind, all the things you think, if people only knew this about me, I would be so ashamed. If people knew this about me, they would reject me and they would condemn me. Well, let me assure you, God knows all those things, and he loves you anyway. And he says to you, put your faith in my Son, and he'll save you from all of it. Doesn't matter where you come from, doesn't matter how old you are, doesn't matter your past, he can save you from all of it. He will save you from the darkness of this fallen world, and he will save you from the darkness of your own fallen heart through the gift of his Son. How's that for a Christmas gift? This guy named Isaiah wrote about 500 BC, people who walked in darkness have seen a great light. Those who dwell in a land of deep darkness, on them has light shone. For to us a child is born, and to us a son is given. And one day, about 700 years after Isaiah wrote that, about 2,000 years ago now today, God looked down on this dark and hopeless world full of lost and broken people, and he left heaven and entered his creation, born a baby in the little town in the Middle East just outside of Jerusalem called Bethlehem. And the King of Glory left his throne to be placed in a manger so that he could grow up and one day rescue us from death and set us free from sin and death forever. That's why we celebrate Christmas, no matter what's going on in our lives, in our world. The message of John 3:16 is not just a message for the end zones of football games. It's not only a message for Christmas time either. It's a message for everyone, everywhere, every day. It's a message of God for all people. It's not a message of condemnation, but of conquering. Our God, through the gift of his Son, has conquered the unconquerable. The enemies of sin and death are defeated for all who believe in him, And he has given us the greatest gift of all through his Son, because whoever believes in him will not perish but have eternal life. That's the meaning of Christmas. That's why we celebrate tonight, and we celebrate every Sunday, and hopefully we celebrate every day.